Imagine this. You have an idea for an app, right? But instead of spending months coding and designing, you have a live working product in just a few minutes. Well, that's not science fiction anymore. That right there is the promise of AI augmented development. And today we're going to walk through that entire journey, from a simple thought to a fully deployed app to see exactly how it's all done.
So what's our roadmap? Well, we've got 5 key stages. We're going to start by turning a simple prompt into a real prototype. Then we'll step into it's basically an AI software factory to build it out. After that, we'll give our app a brain with AI agents, automate all the tedious quality checks and deployment. And finally, and this is a big one, we'll talk about what it actually means to live in this new reality.
All right, first things first. Every great app starts as just an idea. So our journey begins right there, at the very beginning, turning that thought into something you can actually see and touch. This is the prompt to prototype phase, where we give our idea a face.
And you know, this quote from Codecademy really hits the nail on the head. Tools like Google Stitch are doing more than just speeding things up. They're closing that huge gap between what you can imagine and what you can actually create. It's a fundamental shift in the whole creative process.
Okay, so this is where it gets really cool. You've got 2 ways you can go here. With standard mode, you can just type out what you want your app to look like. But check out experimental mode. You can literally sketch something on a napkin, upload a picture of it, and the AI turns it into a professional-looking design. I mean, that's a massive leap forward.
And the workflow itself? It's honestly super simple. You describe what you want, the AI generates it, you tweak your description to refine it, and then you export. From there, you could pop it into a design tool like Figma to polish it up, or, and this is my favorite part, you can grab the HTML and CSS and start coding right away.
All right, with our design ready to go, we now enter the AI software factory. This is where the magic really happens, where that pretty picture starts to become a real, functional application.
Now, the core of this whole stage is a concept Google calls vibe coding. And yeah, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's less about getting every semicolon and bracket perfect, and more about just describing the vibe and the function you're going for. The AI handles the nitty-gritty details.
But the real secret sauce of vibe coding is something called Annotation Mode. Forget digging through files to find the right line of CSS. You just click on an element in the live preview, like a button, and tell the AI in plain English, make this blue. And poof, the AI writes the code to make it happen. It's that direct.
But okay, let's get real for a second. As powerful as this is, it's not perfect. As this YouTuber found out when they were testing it, it can be a little hit and miss. Sometimes you'll nail it on the first try, but other times you've got to play around with it and refine your prompts to get exactly what you want. It's still a tool, not a magic wand.
So, our app looks great, but a pretty face isn't enough, right? It needs a brain. It needs logic to actually do stuff. This is where AI agents come into the picture. They're going to be the engine that powers our whole application. For this part, we use the Gemini command line interface. And what's really slick is this little file called gemini.md. Think of it like a mission briefing for your AI. You tell it who it is, its persona, what it knows about your project, and what its ultimate goal is. Now, it's really important to note you've got different agents for different jobs. The LLM agent is kind of like your creative partner. You give it a high-level goal, like write me a cool story, and it just figures it out. Then you have the base agent, which is more like a precision tool. You give it exact, step-by-step instructions, and it follows them perfectly, which is great for things like telling it to generate a very specific image. Okay, so our app has a face, it has a brain, and it actually works. But is it ready for the real world? Is it reliable? Now we need to automate the whole process of testing and shipping it to make sure it's solid enough for real users. And this is another area where AI is just a total game changer. Instead of spending days writing boring, repetitive tests, we can just tell the Gemini CLI to do it for us. It'll spit out a whole suite of tests that check if our app's output is not just working, but also meeting the specific quality standards we set. It's a huge time saver. This all flows right into building our CI/CD pipeline. The easiest way to think about this is like a digital assembly line for our code. Anytime we make a change, this pipeline automatically grabs it, runs all those tests we just made, and if everything looks good, it deploys the new version live, all automatically. And get this, you don't even have to build this assembly line from scratch. With just one well-crafted prompt, Gemini can generate all the complex configuration files you need. After that, you just push your code, and the whole deployment process just happens. It's pretty amazing. And just like that, our app is live, which is awesome.
But our work isn't done. Not by a long shot. Now we have to deal with the day-to-day practical realities of running a service that's built on top of all this new AI tech. So first step, let's talk limits. When you're just starting out and using the free tier of Google AI Studio, you've got to remember you're looking at about 100 requests per day for those more powerful models. That's totally fine for development, but it's a hard ceiling you need to plan for.
And it's not just the AI tools. The platforms we use to deploy have their own limits too, usually to prevent abuse. GitHub Actions, for instance, will literally stop you in your tracks if you try to kick off more than 500 deployments in a tiny 10-second window.
And even when you're in the limitless cloud, there are still physical limits. On a platform like Vercel, for example, there's a hard cap on how much data you can stuff into a single request. In this case, 4.5 megabytes. It just means you have to be smart about how you're designing things. This all leads us to the reality of cost, which is definitely shifting. For a long time, if you used your own computers for your CI/CD pipeline on GitHub, it was totally free. But that's changing. While GitHub's own runners are actually getting cheaper, they're adding a small per-minute fee if you use your own. It's part of a bigger trend of tying costs directly to how much you actually use the platform.
So, we've seen it. The incredible, mind-bending speed at which an idea can become a real deployed app. The creative barriers are just melting away. But, as we've also seen, this new power comes with a new rulebook, API limits, platform constraints, and a whole new set of costs to think about. So it leaves us with a really important question for the future. With AI doing the building, is the real bottleneck our own imagination? Or is it our budget?